Hattusa is famous for being the capital city of the Hittite kingdom from roughly 1650 to 1200 BC. Tablets recovered from here have referred to it as the city of 1,000 gods, which seems somewhat grandiose. However, when you visit, you certainly get the sense that the city is worthy of such a grand description. The city is large, so large that attempting to walk it and still see the sights might be difficult in a day. Hattusa's size should not be surprising, since the ruins here reflect the greatest cultural and military extent of the Hittites during the so-called Hittite Empire period, where this kingdom rivaled that of the Egyptians, Assyrians, and Mycenaeans. Is it possible to see everything in one day? Yes, but in creating this video, I want to share a pared down list of 5 sites that I found interesting and which I believe one can visit comfortably in 3 hours with the use of a car. The largest structure in Hattusa and located near the entrance to the archaeological site is the Great Temple. The Great Temple complex is the largest structure in Hattusa, greater than that of the palace Citadel, and should give some insight as to how important religion was to this society. Just as you enter the entrance to the Great Temple complex, on your left is one of the great mysteries of Hattusa. This green stone is of unclear significance, although it's speculated that it serves some religious cultic function. Myths that it is either a meteorite or originated from Egypt are unlikely, as it appears to be some locally mined nephrite. As you continue down your path on your right, you'll come to the entrance to the temple itself, leading to an internal courtyard. This internal courtyard leads to 2 cult chambers which would have housed the cultic statues of the gods. In fact, the base of the cult statue is quite apparent here. It's believed that this particular temple may have been built to honor the Hittite weather god Tarhuna and the sun goddess Arina, hence the presence of 2 inner cult chambers. From the Great Temple, we can look at a fairly accurate reconstruction of the wall that would have surrounded Hattusa. This reconstruction is important since the next 3 locations we will visit are all gates of Hattusa's outer walls. As the outer walls were made of unfired mud brick, much of it is eroded with time, except for the gates, which were typically made of stone. Our next stop is the Lion's Gate, a practical use, high traffic gate. 2 carved lions of excellent detail guard the entrance. The lions here at Hattusa represent kingship and illustrate that the use of lions to represent royalty extended millennia prior to its popularized use in European heraldry. This aerial view of the gate reveals 2 flanking towers, which really allows the visitor to appreciate just how impressive the exterior walls of Hattusa must have been. I previously mentioned that the Lion's Gate is a practical use gate in order to contrast it with the next gate called the Sphinx Gate, which does not appear to have been used for general traffic into and out of the city. Note that the width at the Sphinx Gate could not fit a cart. There is an impressive rampart facing outwards from the Sphinx Gate, angled at 35 degrees. The flanking stairs on either side of the rampart are at the same angle, making the entire gate impractical for moving material into and out of the city. Although some have suggested that this rampart is of a defensive nature, it seems unlikely since it is confined to only this particular gate and does not extend to more vulnerable portions of the wall adjacent to it. The Sphinx Gate may represent an architectural monument, visible to a visitor some distance from the city. New York has the iconic Statue of Liberty, London has Big Ben, and Hattusa had the Sphinx Gate rampart. Beneath all this is a fabulous postern tunnel which actually predates the rampart. This tunnel is still walkable, so don't miss out on this experience. We now come to our last gate, called the King's Gate, named after a relief found on it. This relief is now housed in the Museum of Anatolian Civilizations in Ankara. It was originally thought to depict a king, hence its name. However, later research indicates that this was in fact a depiction of a god based on the presence of horns, which was routinely used to identify deities. The depiction of a god on a gate suggests that this was no ordinary gate, but may have served religious purposes and been used exclusively for ceremonies. This is interesting since both the King's Gate and the Sphinx Gate appears to have served purposes beyond that of allowing entrance to and exit from Hattusa, while the Lion's Gate, which was the first gate we discussed, appears to have served a more utilitarian role. The aerial view of the King's Gate shows that the exterior path approaching it runs parallel to the wall with an auxiliary wall on the other side of this ramp. This is a good illustration of a defensive scheme whereby attackers would be attacked from either side as they approach the gate. Our final stop is the royal citadel where the Hittite king and his family resided. There isn't much remaining here other than the foundations of storerooms, courtyards, residences, and reception halls. However, it's a good place to end and appreciate the view of Hattusa, particularly that of the great temple below. Under ideal circumstances, you could spend the entire day in Hattusa, incorporating hikes to the different sites and perhaps even packing a picnic lunch. But I wanted to create this video for people visiting with limited time. After all, Hattusa is remote and hard to get to. One aspect of this archaeological site is that it is not overwhelmed with hordes of tourists. In fact, I was the only one present at many of these sites. For the history enthusiast like myself, this is a good thing, since it allows for exploration, discovery, analysis, and reflecting on ancient life, making my visit to Hattusa quite special. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and check out some of my other videos on the Hittite civilization.